Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 11 of Building a SaaS from Scratch. And before we get started, I just want to give people a chance to join in. And we could go over where we are in the project right now. We'll go over some of the Stripe API, and we'll also do a few other things. I plan on this stream being about an hour or so long. So we're going to go from 10:30 p.m. Eastern time to about 11:30, 11:40 Eastern as well. So I'm going to wait for a few people to join in, and I'll get everything set up in the meantime. If you guys are joining in, I'll appreciate if you guys could, leave a comment in the chat so I know you're here. But we'll start in the next few minutes and kind of go over what we've been doing. And I know I've taken a few days off of actually live streaming this project, but we've still been working on it every night. So there's a lot of progress we have done, a lot of functionality that has also been done. So you guys have any questions, which you guys might leave them inside of the comment section, and I will get to them ASAP. And also, if you could hit that like button, that means YouTube will push my video to more people, and more people will be able to join my lives, and it'll be much appreciated. Hey, what's up, PJ? How you doing? New face, how you guys doing? Rob, what's up? How you doing? What's up, Rob? And on my side too, there is about a 20-second or so delay. So if I'm not responding to you right away, it could be because of the YouTube delay. But other than that, let's get started. So let me explain what is going on and what we're doing. So what we're building is a website or a software, whatever you want to call it, that allows a person. Hey, what's up, Gadsden? How you doing? It pretty much allows a person to create an AI chatbot widget for their website. And this person doesn't need any technical experience. They don't need to know how to code. They just have to answer about 7 to 8 questions, and then they will receive a script tag, which might be hard for some people, but they will receive this script tag and a style sheet, and they'll be able to implement the script tag and style sheet into their own HTML code. The stack we are using Next.js 14, Typescript, MongoDB, Prism for the ORM. We are also using Shadcn for some components. We are using a few other packages. I can't think off the top of my head, but when we go over them, we will be able to do more. So the thing we are going to do is let's go over some of the code. And before we go over the code, actually, let me show you how the application is going to work. So here is the landing page. This is just temporary. All I did was use a Lottie image for this animation. If you've never used Lottie, they have Lottie for React. It's just pretty much SVG animated files. You could have, they have a lot of free ones, but then they also have a pro version. So this is what this is real quick. You can install the package of Lottie, and this will pop up. Let me log out real quick, and I'm going to show you guys what's going on. So what we have is we have authentication through Auth.js version 5. That's technically in beta, but I've been over the code plenty of times, and I feel I could use it in production. If I have to ever go, I'll go down to version 4. But what they can do is they can sign in with the credentials provider, or they can sign in with the Google provider. And if they do sign in with the credentials provider, they are going to get a verification email. Make sure the email is legit and that they have access to it. They're going to click the link. It's going to verify the email, and then it's going to allow them to sign in. If they sign in with Google, it's just going to sign them in because the email is already verified. So we are going to click sign in with Google, and I'm going to sign in with that same account. And then when you get signed into Google, it should redirect you to our dashboard page that we created. So let's just make sure everything's working. So cool. So now we have our dashboard page, and I'm going to move myself real quick so you guys can see. At the bottom right is kind of what our whole project is based around. It's a widget, a chatbot widget. You've probably seen those on a lot of websites. So when we click this, it opens. Oh, there's an error with the chatbot. So there's an error right there that we have to go over and fix. Actually, I know why we have that error, so don't even worry about that. Don't even fret. So that's one thing we have to fix. But that chatbot widget is something we are going to create. And what we have is, I need to open up my MongoDB real quick and reset a few things for the specific account. And like I said, guys, if you have questions, leave them in the chat. And I appreciate you guys all for commenting, liking the video, supporting this channel. It really means a lot. It truly does. But let me just change a few things real quick in Mongo, and then we'll go back explaining what's going on. So the thing I'm changing is we're only allowing each user to have one AI chatbot. So I'm resetting the chatbot limit for this specific account so I could create another one and walk you through. If I could find it, let me see. Give me 1 second, guys. I see it. Okay, cool. So I just reset it, and we are going to go to the first thing. So the dashboard page, we really haven't done anything to it. We just added a few buttons, tested it out. So create assistant. Is the chatbot UI a package? What do you mean by is it a UI a package? We just use Tailwind to style it, and the widget that is actually inside of a different project, which is Vite, and we are accessing it through a script tag. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what's going on real quick. So here you're going to create chatbot in just a few steps. Here's a prototype of what your chatbot is going to look like. And as you type, so say chatty, it is going to change right here on the right as well with it. Also your description. So description, as you can see, is in real time updating on the prototype to see how it looks. So we're just going to give it some instructions. And these instructions, we're going to say you are a pirate, and will help with the user by talking like a pirate. Just so you guys know this is actually working. And these instructions are sent to the OpenAI API. And that is what we're using. We're using the Assistance API from OpenAI. We're going to create a welcome message. So this is going to be, hello, how can I help you? Instead, we can say, hi, I'm Chad 2.0. How can I help you? You see everything's changing. Next page, we could pick a color schema. So you can see the color changes. We could change this to whatever color we want. We have orange. We could choose a logo. You see the logo changes. And then we have a knowledge base as well. So the knowledge base is going to allow you to upload files like PDFs, text files, CSVs, any files that are supported with ChatGPT. And we could upload these files so the bot can be trained on it. So I'm going to upload my resume. And then we're going to click Create Chatbot. Only 10 files are allowed, so this isn't working. So there's a code right there that's not working, which we could fix. But for the meantime, pretty much when you create this code, a module will pop up with a script tag and a styling sheet. And then what you're going to do is that script tag and styling sheet is going to have a source. And that source is going to be this project right here, which is called the chatbot widget. And this is a Vite application. And as you can see, all of these files and folders in here is where our widget is made. So our app.tsx, we are calling APIs from our Next.js application. So our main project is made in Next.js. Our widget is created in a Vite app. We are in the Vite app calling APIs from that Next.js application. So we're making API calls to it, and we also styled it in here with Tailwind. Next, we then make sure we push the code to GitHub and host it on GitHub's CDN. So GitHub has a CDN, which we are hosting all of this code on. And then we are building and bundling the code and then saving in an index file and a index CSS and JS file. This allows us to use this as the source property for our script tag and style sheet. So the style sheet is going to be all of this index, which is the whole project. And this JS is going to be all of the Tailwind and JavaScript that we need for that script. So I'm going to open up this real quick, localhost 5173. And for example, right now, we have, let me move myself real quick. Here's the chatbot widget that's actually working. So as you can see, it opens up. And this was a chatbot that we created and been testing. So what we had to do is we had to enter your name to continue. And the reason why we do this is because one of the features our chatbot is going to have, like our software, is you're going to be able to access the chat history. So it's important to see who is typing with your chatbot on your website. So for example, say this localhost 5173, which is what we're on, is a restaurant. And the restaurant decides to implement a AI chatbot. They get the script tag, copy it on their website, and now they get a widget on the bottom right based on their color and name. They will enter a name, so say Brett, and then, hi, I'm Chai 2.0, how can I help you? So if we go back to our V application, in here, we have hard-coded an API key, and also we hard-coded a few styles, which we will actually pass in props inside that script tag. So I hope I'm explaining this good. It's a lot. We actually did work on a lot of stuff off camera. So if we go inside of our main.tsx, we are hard coding the function here with API key, text color, and theme color. And we are actually just using this function right here. So this function is essentially just, I hope I'm saying this correct, it is mounting a app component, which is technically the V app. So it's allowing us to pass in the props into this actual V application. And this code that we're getting from the script tag is over here in the Next.js application. It is inside of the constants folder in the constants.ts. And we have a function right here called generate script. And this is going to generate the script after the chatbot is created. And that chatbot is created from that prototype page that you guys saw. So we have the script tag with a div of ID of chatbot. This is the script tag with the source from that CDN where the chatbot widget is hosted. As you can see, it says index-2.js, which was in that bundle folder inside of V. Then we are doing a chatbot.mount. And we're doing document.getElement by ID, which is the chatbot div we have here. That's where all the styling is going to go in. And we have the API key, which we're passing in, which we're receiving as a prop inside of this function. We're passing it into our VDAP. And this API key pretty much matches up in our database to make sure that a chatbot was created with all of its features. And then as you can see here, we have a styles with a link styling sheet, and that is pointing to an href of that same CDN instead of an index.css file. So all that is working right now. And what I want to do is actually, to make it work, I can comment a few things out so you guys can see the full process of how it is. So let me go into my schemas real quick. And what I'm going to do is we did a few checks here. So all of these dot refines right here, I'm going to remove. Well, I'm going to comment out. So we were just doing a check when this knowledge base input was being checked using the no object schema. So if I go back to this code, let me refresh the page and start from the beginning. So chatbot name, it could be YouTube test, just so we know what's going on. Chatbot description, we could just say welcome. Instructions, we're going to say you're a pirate, so talk like one. Welcome to Chai 2.0. Color is not going to matter because we're going to hard code it in. And then the file doesn't matter as well. And then we're going to choose a knowledge base right here, which is just a PDF we can choose. So we're going to click create chatbot. It's going to load up. It's creating the chatbot on the back end. And we should get a module that pops up here with a success message. And we don't. We get an error. Const response equals await. So now we got to check the logs. So everything was working, but as you can see, the further along you go in the code, the more errors you might get. 500 failed to index files for retrieval. Let me check. Failed to index files for retrieval. Request failed. Creating chatbot. Components, creating chatbot form. We're getting an error here for the create assistant form data. Sorry guys if I'm not talking right here because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So let me try that again. Create your chatbot. Pending. Okay, we're getting a 500. Binary, non-binary. So we're sending the payload back. We're getting internal server error, which must be on the server side. App API, create assistant, route. So we're running that console for check assistant. Let's see if we're actually creating assistant inside of our OpenAI account. No, so we're not. Okay, so something's happening around here. So if check for assistant.number resistance equals 1, we must return you have reached the maximum number of assistants. Please upgrade your account. Which number of assistants we have 0, so we're not creating this. Else fail to index files for retrieval. Fail to index files for retrieval. Now let me see my upload thing, see if we're actually receiving this uploaded logo. March 12th, 10:46 p.m. So we are sending a logo to the backend, which is working. So if no logo, concession. What I am thinking is happening is our file function right here is not working for some reason. So let files string for file const files and knowledge base. Okay, we could try to console that and see if we get anything. And it is working now, which is weird. Maybe it was a problem with OpenAI's API. I didn't change anything. But as you can see, if it is successful, you get assistant created successfully right here. You can see in the back, and then we get this embed code. So this is what I was talking about. This is the script tag that they would have to copy and paste. That was kind of weird. I think it might have been something with OpenAI API and the calls, because that's where our error was coming. It was some 500 error. It might have been from their side. But pretty much this is what pops up after you create it successfully. And you can see there's an API key here that is pretty much embedded in. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to hard code it in on my V-app. So that script tag, like I said, that source is pointing to this V-app right here. So that script tag is this to complete V-app. We're pointing to this index file right here and this CSS file after we run a build. So let me hard code that API, which I'm going to hard code it here. We've been testing it like this, just like that. And if you don't hard code it, so for example, this whole code will be gone. It won't even be there. And then we are going to pass in the props, which is the API key, text color, and theme color, which we get from the form. We pass it in to this function. And what this function does is if there's no props, essentially, if there's no props that match these props, then we must render an error component with using the root.render method. Else we are going to render this app component. And this app component is the whole widget with the UI from Tailwind and the API calls going to Next.js. So I'm going to uncomment this. And essentially what we're doing is we are just running this function right here, passing in specific values. And the API key that I passed in is the API key we just created using that form. I wish that error wasn't there because now some of you guys might be confused. But like I said, ask questions in the chat. This is definitely more of a complex project that we are working on. Some of it I had to do just off stream because doing it on stream would take a lot of time, and being able to collaborate with other people just helps a lot. So what we're going to do is we are going to open up that localhost 5173. I'm going to refresh the page. And now this chatbot has that API key we got from the script tag. So we open it. And as you can see, it says YouTube test. Remember, we named that in the form YouTube test. So I'm going to say Brett. I'm Brett. And it's easy. So how can I help you? Remember, that was that welcome message we had. And what we can do here is we can say, and this API, this chatbot should answer like a pirate. Remember, that was one of the instructions. So we're going to see if that instruction is actually working. So hi there. Can you help me out? Just something very simple, just to test out. So we're waiting for a response. And as you can see, the response, I don't know if you see, it says, "Hey, me Hardy, let's see what the treasure be hiding." So it's talking like a pirate. And it's going to answer questions based on the knowledge base file you uploaded. So like I said, that's going to be a PDF, a CSV, a TXT file. You can see the whole list on ChatGPT, and we'll be able to give the user access to what files they can do. And then also we're going to give them access to upload a sitemap or a URL so the chatbot could be trained on those specifics as well. And what we did here is I have a chat, and this chat I entered Brett. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our application, our Next.js application. And if we go to settings, I have a settings page. Simple stuff. It says you're currently on the pro because I've been testing Stripe. So technically I paid with test money. And what we can do now is the next feature I want to show you is the chat history. So there should only be one chat history. And there isn't. So this chat history page is laid out like this, which I'm going to figure out why. And I think I actually know why this is happening like this, because I already have a chatbot that's pulling it from. But pretty much the chat history is going to show whatever chats were interacted with your chatbot on your website. So people can come back and see the chats, and then they can also see more specific like details over here, which we're going to style better, like number of messages generated, when it was actually started, the thread, and all that. And we are also going to have, what else do we have here? And then other than that, we have a files page where it shows all of the files that were uploaded to your bot. So as you can see, I uploaded that software engineer resume, and it's showing it here. And then you can upload new files to your chatbot so it could be trained on. So you just click here, upload a new file. Let's just say this PDF, upload, it loads. And as you can see, the new file is added to the list. And now your chatbot is trained on both of these files. So whenever somebody asks us a question, it will look through these files and answer them as well. What I want to figure out real quick is the chat history must be reading it from a different chatbot, which is fine. It should be an easy fix. But let's go in that code real quick and see what's going on. Hey, what's up, Shabam? And like I said, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you guys are coming in late and you don't know what's going on as well, ask questions. I can see the chat as we go. But let's work on this chat history real quick to make sure everything is working right. So what I have here is our site chat history page. Looking good. I appreciate it, Ken. Thank you. Yeah, there's still a lot of work to go and do, but it is coming along good. And I do want to show you guys the Stripe. I just implemented that yesterday. Let me do that before we work on the chat history. So for example, I haven't uploaded all the functionality for the Stripe is working. I just have to do checks to see if you're pro or not. But what we can do here is I'm going to open up the Stripe dashboard. Let me sign in. If you create a business account or personal account, doesn't matter. Go to test mode up here, click this, and then you can start testing around the Stripe's APIs without actually spending real money. So what we are going to do is I'm going to delete the customer that's there, which is me. I'm going to delete it real quick. And then I'm going to bring MongoDB over. And these are all of pretty much our whole database. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the user subscription, which only appears for a user if they paid for a plan. And what we're doing is we're giving a 14-day free trial to all new users. So to do that, I can show you the code, but I'm going to show you how it works. So say this is the upgraded pro button. You click it. And there's a lot of ways you implement this. And what it does is opens up a pre-built Stripe page. You can actually use the elements component and something else from Stripe, and you could create a custom Stripe page. But what I did real quick was just create a pre-built one, which is a lot easier to do. And to test out Stripe, use a card called 4242 like this. And then you can put any dates you want in here. Doesn't really matter. Any CVC, any zip code. And then you're going to put start trial. So you can see it says 14 days free, then $35 a month after. And it will charge them automatically after unless they cancel the plan. We're going to click start trial. It's going to process the payment, and if it's successful, the button should turn green, and it's pretty obvious that it was successful. So you can see a green check mark. It'll redirect me to the settings page, and here what I have is now I need to pretty much change all of these based on the condition if they're pro or not. But if you go back to our Stripe customer dashboard, I deleted that other one, and then you can see that I have a new file that was created at 3 a.m., which is right now, technically. And it was created with this specific customer ID member, billing, emails, all that stuff. And I also have a Stripe webhook hooked up to as well. So the webhooks are very powerful. They run functions based on when an event is actually fired. So that makes it very, very nice when you need to update your database specifically. So if you need to update your database like I do here for the user subscription, so I deleted that one and there should be a new one here, which there isn't. So there's another issue. Let's see why I didn't do it. That's crazy because it was working earlier, but we could fix that on stream. But other than that, let's go into the chatbot history real quick. I know I'm jumping all over the place because there's a lot of features we added. Obviously, as you can see, everything's not working perfect. This is still a work in progress. But we can work on some stuff right here on the live stream for sure. So what we can do is we got to look at the chat history and see what we are calling. So we're not even in the right folder. So let's go to our chat history layout.tsx. And we are calling the session from auth.js 5. We are getting the threads from the session.user.id. We're calling get user threads. And yeah, it's calling it from the chatbot model. So what we can do is we could either open up Prism Studio or you could just go through here. So the chatbot model it's looking for, and it's going based off the session user ID. So technically I did create 2 chatbots that are stored in the database with the user. So right here is the YouTube test. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me move myself real quick. We have the YouTube test right here. That's the one we just created, and it is associated with ID 6F1149, which is not a big deal. That's just a random ID. The user ID is the one that matches up with the actual ID. So 65EBFAFAC. Yeah, so these are the same ones. So we're going to delete both these. Let's delete both these chatbots. I'm just going to delete them all, and we're going to start brand new. Delete and delete. And we are going to delete a lot of these users just so we can start fresh. One sec, guys. And then user description, nothing. And let's delete the accounts. Accounts are technically all the Google provider accounts that we have. Okay. So let's go over the demonstration again with all of them deleted. But if we're getting the user threads, so technically threads is considered conversations considered by OpenAI API. So every thread is a conversation, and inside each thread or conversation, there's messages. So what we're doing is we are querying the database with the find first method from Prism. So it's finding the first user ID where there's chatbot history is true. And we are, I think, taking the first 30. And then after that, we are not taking any more. So we are looking for all of the threads or conversations associated with the chatbot. So we're including the chatbot history. So let's make sure we go over here, chatbot history. And let's delete all the histories of these chatbots that we've interacted. So these are all the people that interacted with the chatbot. Okay. Now, let's go back to localhost 3000. /auth/register. Let's make sure we're just logged out of everything cookies wise. Okay. And let's just sign in. Let's do it with, let me make sure I don't have the user of my email. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's refresh the page and let's use the credentials provider. So we are going to sign in. Give it a name, Brett. Password. Register. Email verification was sent. So let's open up that email. See if it actually was sent. Yep. So onboarding, please verify your email. Just sent at 11:06 p.m. We're going to click to verify. But before we do that, let's look at what's happening. So right now we have a user, a new user. As you can see, it's the email I just did. Number of assistants 0, my name, and a password that got hashed. And what we are doing here is we have a verification token. And you can see the last one we sent was to DA Brett Westwood. And here's the token. It starts with 73FB. So if we click this, it should be inside the URL. So we have the token 73FB. So it's right there. And we are checking the token on this page. And we email verified successfully. So what that does, it allows us now to log into the account. Because if you didn't verify, you won't be able to log in. So now let's log in. Let's try a wrong password. So it's going to say invalid credentials. We probably could change that to be better. Let's try the right one. So we're going to log in. And now we are logged in and directed to the dashboard page. So good. Next, what you're going to do, let's create an assistant. So we're going to create an assistant. Let's name it Brett. So it's just going to say Brett here. A welcome message, or no, description of welcome, whatever. We're going to say you are an alien this time. See if it changes. And we'll talk like an alien. Create a random welcome message. Hi, Chai 2.0. This color is not going to matter because it is hard-coded for now. Neither is the logo because it's hard-coded. Or actually, no, it's not. It should show, I think. I'm not 100%. I got to look at the code. And let's upload a knowledge base. We're going to click Create Chatbot. It is loading, trying to create the chatbot. And it was successful. Sends you the script tag. Let's get this API key to test it. Let's go to our V application. Let's embed this API key. Let's open up our V application. And like I said, the color is hard-coded where you can see here. So that's a prop you're passing. So the theme color is hard-coded to that hex value. And the text color is also hard-coded to white. But obviously when it's not hard-coded, you could get it through props. And whatever you did on the form, that's going to be your new color. So here it is right here. We're going to open it up. And as you can see, the chatbot's name is Brett. That's why I literally just typed in. So we're going to say this person's Tom. Say, hi, how are you? And we're going to see if it talks like alien. And these instructions, greetings, Earthling. I'm here to assist you. How can I help? See, perfect. So where are you from? So now it's talking like an alien. And we're giving these instructions directly to the Assistants API in OpenAI. And as you can see, I come from a distant galaxy far beyond the stars. My home planet is a place of wonders and mysteries. How can I assist you further, Earthling? So it's typing. It's typing like an alien. So that's working. So now if we go back, we've technically had one person interact with our chatbot. So what we want to do is we want to look at the chat history. And it should be Tom. So as you can see, Tom, 0 minutes ago. Hi, how are you? Greetings, Earthling. Where are you from? So the chat history is popping up like it should. And it's working. And if we go to our files, we have the software engineer resume of myself. And like I said, you could upload new files. So let's ask it a question based off my resume. We could say, what school did Brett go to? Because it's not going to know this, obviously, off the bat, and it's not going to know who Brett is, only if it's looking at the file. So what school did Brett go to? Or Brett go? Don't know how to type. Brett went to the University of South Florida in Tampa, where he obtained blah, blah, blah. So it's answering based off my PDF. So everything is working good. And if we go back to chat history, as you can see now, it says, what school did Brett go? And then answers it right here. And we're going to have to remove that as well, that source thing. But everything looks like it's working good. And other than that, that is pretty much everything we have done so far. We have added a lot of pretty much information and stuff for the application. There's still going to be a lot of work that we're going to do kind of off stream. If you guys want to see anything on stream or anything that we have done or questions, just leave them in the chat and we'll get to it. And what we can do now is we can work. I'm going to move this off screen and we can work on some code for the Stripe API. And I want to show you the Stripe API code as well. So if you guys ever do want to implement something with Stripe and accept payments, this is perfect. So the first thing you want to do is you want to install the Stripe package. All it is npm install Stripe. After you install Stripe, what you are going to do is, what I do is I go inside my lib folder, I create a stripe.ts file, and I initialize it right here. So let me zoom in so you guys can see. We are importing Stripe from Stripe, which is the package you just installed. Then we are setting a variable and exporting it so we could use it through our whole application. And we are initializing a new Stripe initialization using the Stripe underscore secret underscore key. So this is inside my env file, and you have to set the API version. And then if you're using Typescript, you could put true. But where you get the Stripe secret key is from your dashboard. So I'm going to pull over my stuff here. And so, for example, if you are on Stripe, I'm going to try to go back to the beginning. So when you initially get on Stripe, it should look something like this. Like I said, go to test mode. And then right when you're in test mode, make sure you're on test mode. You can see here you got your publishable key, which is used for like the Elements API, which we're not using. That's to create a custom Stripe, pretty much integration, which we're using the pre-build. And then you have the secret key. So mine's hidden. All you gotta do is click the I, copy the secret key into your env file, and you're connecting Stripe to your actual application. So that's how you do that, and that's where you get the secret. So now you initialize Stripe inside of your stripe.ts file. Next thing I do is I create the product. Let me show you guys real quick. I create the product inside of Stripe. So what I do is you could go to more right here, and then you could go to product catalog. So manage your products. And what I did here is you create a new product. So what you're going to do is click add product, and then just answer all of these questions, pretty much how much you want to charge, your billing period, either monthly, daily, yearly, whatever you want. You could do one-time payments off, or you could do recurring. Make your description, your name. You could upload an image to pretty much show your product or your service that you're selling. And then it should pop up something similar to this right here. After you have this, the thing you'd want to do is you'd want to copy this ID here at the top right, and you're going to pretty much save this in an env file, save this variable, and then name it like Stripe underscore price underscore ID, and save that in that variable. So now you've created your product, which right now is considered pro plan for me. And then the next step you want to do is I create inside of the components a subscription button. And what this button is a reusable button that allows me to either upgrade to pro or manage the subscription. So if the user is pro, it should say manage subscription. And if not, it's going to upgrade to pro. And it is making an API call to this endpoint of /API/Stripe. So we could go to that API endpoint real quick. It's inside the app API folder, and that is Stripe. So we are calling this endpoint for Stripe, and we're using the get method. We are making sure we get the user that's logged in through auth.js version 5, storing it in the session variable. We're doing some checks to see if there is a session open or not. Then after that, we are going to query our database based on the ID, and we are querying it inside of the user subscription model. So that is what I created here inside of this schema. So the user subscription model has an ID, an email, a user ID, Stripe customer ID, Stripe subscription ID, Stripe price ID, Stripe current period end, Stripe trial end, Stripe status, Stripe trial start, and then it is in relation to the user, and we have to make sure the user ID of the user subscription matches the ID of the user model. So this ID right here must match the user ID of this here. And that's going to connect the user subscription to the user. So let's go back to that API. So that API is going to query the database, find a unique ID, and then if we have a subscription, what we are going to do is we're going to pretty much open up a portal, and a portal allows them to manage their subscription. So what they can do, instead of creating a new checkout session because they technically are already a pro member, they can open up their portal and they could cancel their membership. They can change their card information, the name on file, yada yada, but opens up another Stripe pre-bill page. And you just define a few things here, and then we'll do a return. So that's the return is pretty much just going to send the URL to that billing portal. Next, that means if we can't find a user subscription, we are going to create a checkout session with this method. So this is the main code you probably should care about. So if you're trying to create a checkout session, come back to this timestamp in the live and make sure you have all of this. And this, as you can see, takes in a bunch of parameters. We're using the stripe.checkout.sessions.create, and we are setting a success URL, a cancel URL, the payment method collection as always, because some of these parameters are not going to apply to you, but like the payment method collection always means for if you're offering a trial, which we are, you always want to collect method payment, because if they don't cancel before the trial ends, that means they're just going to get charged that $35, which they agree to, or whatever price you set. The mode could be subscription or one time. The customer email is going to be the session.user.email. The subscription data, we're also passing metadata, and the reason why we're passing metadata is so we could use it in the webhook. So we're passing in the user ID and email. We have some trial settings. So it's like end behavior, missing payment method, we're going to cancel, which technically we're always going to have the payment method, so this is never going to cancel. And then the trial period days is going to be 14. And then as you can see the line items, we have the price, which is going to be that price ID that I showed you, which is after you create the product on Stripe. And then we have a quantity of 1, and then all we're doing is returning the URL from the Stripe session, which is this variable here. So that is essentially kind of how Stripe works. Pretty straightforward. The docs do a pretty decent job too. And they also have a Discord group where you can ask them and they answer you pretty well. Everything's set up pretty nice there. And the other thing is the webhook, which obviously wasn't working how it should, because the webhook, after you technically create a Stripe checkout and successfully pay, your webhook should run. And I think the reason why my webhook wasn't running is because I don't have it checking in localhost. So let me actually do that, because I'm pretty positive that's why it wasn't working. So let me go to developers. You go to webhooks. And as you can see, it is disconnected right now. And we are listening from localhost 3000 /API/webhook. So what we want to do to start the webhook is, let me see if I'm doing this right. So I downloaded a package from Stripe. So it's this right here. And what we can do here is we can open up our command line. And then we are going to paste this command here, press enter. So now we have the command line open like this. Next thing I think we need to do is we need to press Stripe. Oh, Stripe login. Like that. It is going to log us in. And now we need to go to this URL and make sure our pairing code is matched with this. So hardy, strong, modern, poetic. And all of this stuff I'm going to make YouTube videos on because I feel like this is kind of complicated. So you can see it matches. We're going to allow access. Access granted. And then if we go back and refresh this, it's still disconnected. So the next thing we need to do is please note this key will expire after 90 days, at which point you'll need to re-authenticate. Press enter to open. Down the Stripe CLI is configured for DevVibes 2 with the account. Please note this key, whatever. I know they had docs for this. It might be... No, it's not at endpoint. So Stripe listen. Okay, that's what it was. So kind of these are the steps right here. So I did the Stripe login. And then we are going to listen to localhost 3000/API/webhook. Like that. And let me just make sure my key is the same key as that one. So you need to copy that key. I'm going to do this off screen and see if it's the same key. I think it should be the same key because we get 90 days until we have to change it again. I'm pretty positive. Yeah, so we already have that key. So we are good to go. And now what we can do here is we can trigger events with the CLI. You could do it through here, and you could just paste and copy into your command line, or you can actually do it through your code. So what we can do is we can move our localhost 3000 over, go to settings. Let me just go to settings real quick. It says you're currently on a free plan, and let me just make sure we have no customers. Test mode, customers. We have one, so let's delete it. Okay, so let's upgrade to Pro. So it says free plan, okay? So we got, if we log in and the webhook actually fires off like it should, which we can check the logs, then it should say Pro plan. So we're gonna click start trial. And as you can see, it automatically auto-populates my email because in that checkout session, I just did session.user.email and it automatically populates it for me. So successful. It takes us back to our dashboard page and it still says run the free plan. So let's see what's going on. So right now we're canceling the subscription. Let's check the logs for the webhook. So I've received some events, so let's see. They're all 200 responses. Hey, what's up, D? And to give a lot of credit, D's in the chat. D is the one who has been helping me code this a lot. So a lot of credit to D. This application would not be where it's at without his help. But right now, let me check the database to see if we have a user subscription. And we do. So everything worked in the webhook as it should have. And I guess we had to revalidate the path. So we didn't revalidate the path. So when I pressed refresh, it says Pro plan, manage subscription, then premium plan. If I click manage subscription, it should open up the billing portal. And we need to have a loading state as well, because as you can see, there is no loading state to even indicate to the user that something's happening. And right now, you can't create a portal session in test mode until you save your customer portal settings in test mode. Okay, so we have to do that. Which I kind of faintly remember doing this. So yeah, so we have to launch a customer portal with a link. Set up a Stripe hosted portal that allows your customers to manage their subscriptions and billing details. So allow customers to update subscriptions. For now, we're not going to do that. Allow customers to cancel or pause their subscription. We could cancel. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Stripe does. Stripe, I mean, it's the company it is because of that reason. Show an invoice history, which is perfect. We could show the customer information of them. Business information. I mean, this is how the portal should be. So let's click Save Changes. And now this should work. Let's refresh. And then manage subscription. Maybe I didn't do it right. Oh, no, I did. Okay. So here's like the billing portal. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So if they already have an account, you can see it says trial ends March 27th. That's 14 days from now. Then it's $34.99 a month after. You could change the card on file. You could add a new payment. You could update your information. You see your invoice history, and you could also cancel the plan here. And then you could also just return to DevVibe Studios, which takes you to the setting page. But other than that, that is pretty much everything that is good to go. Does the chat have any questions of what we have created or done? If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please leave them in the chat and I'll answer them. Because like I said, I only plan on being live today for about an hour and a half, and then I'm going to work on it off stream after. But I definitely wanted to come on to show you guys how this all works. Like I said, the main things is creating the chat box, creating the script tag, actually having this work, showing a chat history, hooking up the Stripe, being able to upload new files. Any questions whatsoever, just please leave them in the comment section. But pretty much our goal is to have this project almost pretty much production ready in maybe a week or less, where people can actually start using it in their actual websites. And we're going to see if this actually makes money or not. It'll be pretty exciting. And obviously, building a SaaS is more than just coding. A lot of SaaS pretty much probably fail because of marketing and just not sticking with it long enough, or just not having the right product fit for the right customers. So we're going to see, and obviously we're going to have to make adjustments along the way, but we're going to be able to treat this like a legit company and business. So any questions in chat? And another reminder, if you guys haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. YouTube will show it to a lot more people, so more people can see the series that we're doing. We are on episode 11 right now, and we've been 11 nights strong. Obviously not consistent every night, but 11 nights strong. Let me... So, D, if you're still in the live, one of the things that wasn't working that I didn't even look at it, so it's probably an easy fix, is inside of our knowledge base and inside of the schema, we are checking. I was getting the error back of, where is it? Only 10 files allowed. So if the array.from length is less than 10, you put only 10 files are allowed. So it should be probably greater than 10. So let me just uncomment all these. So array.from value. Let's do greater than 10. Then only 10 files are allowed. So it's pretty much saying if the length of the value, so if there's 10, it's going to throw this error. Let's rework this and see if it would work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete our chatbot that we created because what we are doing is only one chatbot per user for now. Let's delete the chatbot history. And let's make sure the user has only created no assistants. And let's try this again. So what we're going to do here, we need to create an assistant, put some random things. Only 10 files are allowed. Okay, let's go back. No, if it's less than or equal to 0, return the value. No, if it's less than or equal to 10, I think. No. Yeah, if it's less than or equal to 10, return the value. Max file size is 10 megabytes. So I think it's passing those checks now. If the value of this is less than or equal to 10, we are returning. Otherwise, if it's greater than 10, only 10 files are allowed. It should be less than. D, I had it at less than, and it was still throwing an error. Now it's saying that the file.size is less than or equal to this. It probably should be if the file size is greater. If it's greater than or equal to 10 megabytes, then the max file size is 10 megabytes. I think everything's the opposite. Let me see. Yeah, so I'm not getting an error, I don't think, right now. I think the error message is staying. Let me just check. Oh, no, it's not. File.size is greater than or equal to 10. Then the max file size is 10. What another thing we do all the time is we always ask Copilot. So we could just say explain this and see what it says. So what we're doing here, it says okay, so it's saying it should be like this. And then it's saying this should return true. Let's just go to the next page. Max file size is 10 megabytes. Yeah, got it. It's not working because instead of true, it should return a value. So return val. Max file size is 10. If value is not empty files list, the function converts value to an array. Add the check of every to the above if statement. I'm assuming this. Or no, it's not this. That doesn't make any sense. If it's going to be this one. If the value instance the file system is less than 0, return value. Okay, I think that makes sense. That makes sense. Let's try it now. Okay, no, it doesn't. So I guess since I've taken up the hour and I kind of really want to work on more of the code and show you guys what's going on, it seems like nobody has any questions. So I'm going to end the stream here. And if you guys do have questions, you guys could hit me up in Discord of what we've been working on, or just want to chat. That's good too. But like I said, appreciate you guys joining in for episode 11. Before you guys head out, if you guys could hit that subscribe button if you haven't, also like the video and join the Discord group. Other than that, y'all have a good night or good